The man was about to beat the wild rabbit for breakfast unexpectedly in the next second, and his back was seriously injured by the black bear with a crowbar. Until the man pretended to be dead, the black bear stopped eating him. After the black bear turned around and walked away, the man took the opportunity to pick up the hunting gun on the ground, and the black bear heard the man's breath and turned back. The man fired a shot at the black bear. Although he was hit, he not only failed to kill the black bear, but also angered him. He threw the man to the ground. The crowbar kept sliding over the man. It even cut open the man's throat. Then the black bear turned the man over. He grabbed the man's back with a crowbar again, and this time, the man's back was completely broke, so the man pretended to be dead again, and quietly pulled out the dagger from his chest. When the black bear turned to him again, he fired a shot at the black bear. The black bear didn't make a sound again this time. He rolled down the hill with the man. When he heard the gunshot, he rushed over. He found a man lying on the ground, and began to sew wounds on the back of the man. But they couldn't stay here for a long time, so the group of people carried the man to escape. But it was difficult to escape in this snowy place, not to mention the man who was seriously injured. Finally, in a forest, the captain decided to leave the man here, and arranged the man's son and 2 other people to take care of him. But John wanted to take over the man's property, and was going to kill the man. The son, who came in time, stopped him, and shouted for Bridget to come and help. But Bridget, who was fetching water, didn't hear it, and his scream completely angered John, so he put the dagger in. At this time, the man could only watch all this. His throat was cut open, and he couldn't speak, and he couldn't move. Oh my god! John dragged the man into the pit he had prepared in advance without saying a word. He was going to bury the man alive, but he ran in a hurry as soon as he buried half of him, and the kind-hearted Bridget couldn't help it. After putting down her own water pot, she also escaped from here. Then the man used all his strength to climb out of the pit. She, with a broken leg, came to her son with difficulty. Looking at her son, who had already frozen to death, the man shed tears. He must live. He must avenge his son. The man raised his head and drooled, but the water all flowed out of the hole on his neck. Now the most important thing is to seal the hole on the neck. Then the man poured out half of the remaining gunpowder. Then he wiped the wound on his neck. He took out the fire and lit the dry grass. He poured the remaining gunpowder into the fire. He lit the dry moss. Then he reached for his own wound. Although the wound was sealed, the severe pain also made the man faint. The man who woke up continued to crawl forward. An animal's skull appeared in front of him. Then he smashed open the spine and took out the bone marrow inside. He ate the most delicious food in 2 days. After a few days of recovery, the man was able to stand up. He took a wooden stick and aimed at the blood in the water. At this time, he really wanted to hold a gun. As he was resting, he suddenly heard a voice. He hurriedly wrapped himself under the rock. The hunter came here. The man hurriedly slid into the river with a kettle. At this time, the hunters also found traces of the man. He was shot with a bow and arrow. Fortunately, the water flowed out of the hole. The man was lucky to escape. Finally, he caught a tree and came to the shore. At this time, the man was about to be frozen by the cold river. He hurriedly lit the fire and dried his clothes, and he made an original fishing trap in the river. He caught the fish and ate it direct. At night, he saw a fire. A hunter was eating the wild cattle. The man hurriedly laid on the ground to show that he had no malice. He just wanted to find something to eat. After the hunter understood the man's intention, he threw a piece of cattle's internal organ. The man picked it up and ate it direct. The next morning, the hunter saw the injury on the man's back. The man told the hunter about his experience. He killed a bear by himself, but lost his only son. Maybe it's the same experience. The two began to travel together, but the man's injury on his back quickly worsened. The hunter cut off the branches and built a small house for him, and he found herbs to treat his illness. Then he left here. The man was lucky to survive, but not long after he left, he found that the hunter was hanged to death on the tree, and the murderers were circling nearby. The man secretly took the murderer's gun, and he shot the woman. After killing a bandit, he let go of all the horses. Then he left here riding a flower horse, but his water pot stayed, and the woman was freed. But the man didn't have time to rest. The hunter found him. The man ran away in a hurry, but the hunter shot his own horse, and there was a cliff in front of him. The man didn't have time to kill the horse. He fell down with the horse. With the help of branches, the man survived, but he was about to freeze to death. The man pulled the horse's stomach open with a knife. He took out the internal organ. Then he took off his clothes. He dragged his tired body into the horse's belly. He pulled the horse's belly with both hands. He only left his face to breathe outside. The man survived the snowstorm in this way. When he woke up, the sky was clear. He put on his clothes, said goodbye to the horse that saved his life, and continued his way back to the camp. What supported him was the belief in revenge for his son. At this time, John, who returned to the camp, got his own revenge. But when the captain handed the money to Bridget, he felt guilty and chose to refuse. Soon after, a loner appeared outside the camp, and he brought a man's water pot. Bridget saw the water pot. She believed that the man was still alive. After the captain heard the news, she was ready to take everyone to find the man. At this time, all John could do was to escape. The captain brought all the team members, and finally found the man in the forest not far from the camp, and the man told her everything that had happened. The captain hurried back to the camp, but he didn't find John. When he came to his room, he found the safe was open. John had taken all the money. The returning man was going to arrest John with the captain. The captain said that the man needed healing and rest. The captain finally agreed to go with the man. The next day, before they got far, they found the footprints of John's escape. They followed the footprint. Not long after, the man smelled the smoke in the air. The two of them decided to split up. The man soon found the hook after John's death, and the captain was found by John, who was holding a rabbit. He pointed the gun at the captain, and the captain secretly held the pistol on his waist. The man who heard the gunshot soon came to the scene, but he only saw the dead captain lying on the ground. The man continued to move forward with the captain's body, but after replenishing the water source, the man seemed to think of something. Then he cut off a branch and kept drawing it. Then the man continued to chase forward. John, who was hiding in the jungle, aimed at the man. Then he carefully took off his clothes, but he saw a branch behind the body. When he took off his hat, he found the dead captain. The man who was hiding on the back of the horse suddenly fired a gun. John, who was injured, rushed into the forest, but he accidentally slipped down the hill. The man who caught up with him also jumped down at random. At this time, John began to quibble. He wanted to tell his son what happened, but his son kept shouting loud. In order not to let him kill everyone, he killed his son. This powerless quibble completely angered the man. The two of them fought with each other. In the end, John was crushed by the man. At this time, a pair of earthen pillars came to the other side of the river. The man pushed John into the river at random. The earthen pillar pulled the man down. With John's scream, the man finally took revenge. Just as he was waiting for the earthen pillar to judge himself, the earthen pillar did not hurt the man, but slowly walked in front of the man. It turned out that the man he saved unintentionally was the daughter the captain had been looking for. The man who took revenge can finally comfort his wife's spirit in heaven. The film ends here.